trust that all of you can read, and the obituary is on the back of that little bulletin you got when you came in, but things are a little out of order here. I remember Cindy coming home from the hospital. I was 9 years old at the time, and here this new light came into our lives. And older sister Marilyn and I were just thrilled about having a baby sister. And of course, spoiled her as well as we could, but she was also the apple of Daddy's eye. And as a little girl, smiley, giggly, happy, bouncy, loved to be in the middle of things. Whatever was going on, Cindy was there. And not just to be there as an observer, but she wanted to dance. She wanted to be part of what was going on. Her love of animals, most of you know, and that started very, very early on when she was just a little girl. And I don't ever remember a time when Cindy didn't have animals. And so she had some favorite little kitties when she was a baby, and she would just maul them and they wouldn't scratch. And we had a dog. Dogs seemed to have a special affinity for Cindy, so there was some sense there, I think, among animals, how much Cindy cared for them. She grew up with, mainly with just two brothers. Marilyn, our older sister, left and graduated from high school about the time Cindy was starting school. So she was left to wrangle with two brothers who loved to tease her, and she loved to tease back. But it was all in good fun, and some of the pranks, especially that Tim pulled on her, will go down in history, like the octagon-shaped glasses that she had, and she got up one morning and with marker on both lenses was marked "Stop." She did it for herself, and those of you who know her knew that she had a pretty strong personality, so she didn't take a backseat to the brothers teasing and carrying on. Cindy was smart. She got really good grades in school. She knew how to figure things out on her own, and she had a good bit of brain power, and came into play in lots of ways, and in ways that we don't usually think about intelligence, but I think her greatest intelligence was interpersonal, how she dealt with people, and all of you showing up today is testament to that. She was, as I said, she loved to be involved in things, and so she got into Bluebirds and Campfire Girls, and I think in that process got into crafts. She loved to help our mom cook, and so she became a really good cook on her own. And as a musician and a music teacher, of course, it was a sense of pride for me that she started to play the trumpet, just like Big Brother. And then a little while later switched to French horn. And the really downer for Big Brother was when I came here to be the band director at Dawson County High School, she quit band. And there was, you know Cindy, there was no changing her mind. So no matter how much Big Brother said it's going to be different, she wouldn't come back. And those of you who knew her in high school remember cars, and especially Radish, that red Chevy 2 that she drove around, and I don't know how many times banged it up or had some way that it was out of commission until our dad took it into his garage and did whatever he had to do, magic, to get that thing running again. And she's one of the few people I know that named all of her cars and thought that they were like friends of hers. And finally, a few years ago, she got her dream car when she had that Chrysler convertible. And everybody went, "What are you doing buying a car like that?" But for Cindy, that was a special treat. She really loved that car. And she loved body shops too, or at least they loved her. At one point, we sat down and counted. I think we asked her, let's recount how many accidents you've had. And I think it was 28 at that time. And that was a few accidents back. So I'm sure that Bob Hellman and company in town thought Cindy was a good person to have around. Her big contributions, I think, to the world were in her work and in what she did with her kids. At her work, she had amazing influence with those people at Eastmont, the severely handicapped folks. Those were hers. Those were her people. I remember specifically when one of her clients moved out of Eastmont and went to a group home in Great Falls where we live. And Cindy came to Great Falls to check up on her. That's not to visit brother and family, but to check up on one of the clients that had moved out of Eastmont. And the same thing happened then at EMI when she worked in the group homes. Those people meant so much to her. She just really cared for them. She'd put those folks in a van and haul them all over town and take them to special events and make sure that they got all their cans crushed the way that they were supposed to. And because of her skill with people, she was promoted to management, and that wasn't a good fit. Cindy's place was really with those clients and not wrangling with employees about who's showing up for work when. And so I think she really missed just being a person to work with handicapped people. And then that kind of went sour with the administration part of EMI, so she decided to get out of that and ended up working at, of all places, the jail. And she was so proud of being Officer Deckard. She had her uniform and took pictures of it and attended the Montana Law Enforcement Academy and did that training there, passed with flying colors. And I remember specifically when she passed the shotgun part, she called me up and she was so excited. She said, I had to jump out of the car, roll twice, and she described the whole thing. Of course, you know how Cindy could be in detail. So I got all of the details of that. And, the other thing that she was looking forward to was getting together with Tim the next time because she had learned all these takedowns. She wanted some paybacks from younger days. Also, her caring went beyond just those people that she worked with. It affected everybody that's here, and especially our mom. After Dad died in 1993, Cindy was the caregiver for Mom for the next 7 years until she passed away. And all of us kids felt at ease because we knew Cindy was here to take care of things. And she loved doing that, and that love was returned. We all know of the insidious disease that finally was Cindy's demise, but don't remember her that way. If it were cancer or ALS or any other disease, we'd all accept it with a lot more sophistication, I guess, than her disease. And no matter how much pleading, how much praying, how much scolding, that disease was stronger than she was. It was stronger than all of us. It destroyed relationships, destroyed finally her dignity and her life. But don't remember Cindy for that. Remember her for that smile that you see on that photo and the kind of person that affected everybody's lives in such a positive way. And she loved her kids. Her daughters were everything to her, maybe right next to Glomer. But that was her life. I mean, she was so proud of those girls and her grandkids. Nothing could have been more important to her. Some of her favorites, obviously her kids and her grandkids, were at the top of the list. And her animals. And they're all kind of mixed in there vying for first place. Talking? Cindy loved to talk. That was definitely one of the favorites. I remember a time at our house with the whole family, siblings gathered. We had to put a time limit on Cindy because there were 8 of us sitting around there. We finally said, hey, wait a minute, there's 8 of us here. You're going to get an 1/8 of the time. And so, of course, that was lots of fun trying to keep her within those boundaries. She loved to cook. And whenever anybody said they were coming to Glendive, Cindy would start immediately telling you what she was going to prepare. It might be 3 weeks out. oh, good, when you get there, we're going to have the cabbage, and she loved to do that. And for her girls, too. And oftentimes the girls, long after they had left home, came back for lunch because of Mom's good cooking. And she loved time with family and friends. She just loved to have a good time. She loved to dance in the bigger picture of that term and what that song means. And she also got into crafts, and many of you maybe have her Christmas tree ornaments that she used to make, and she was very clever about how she put things together. And I think she was disappointed that she didn't have more time and resources to do that. So what a varied and interesting life that she had, and what a legacy she leaves behind with 3 great daughters and 6 grandchildren and a ton of friends and family. And I think that those of you who knew her very well knew that warm heart that she had. She just loved to reach out to people and help others, not just family, but friends. She would do anything for a friend. In fact, lots of times too much, to her own detriment and to taking away from herself. But that was her. That was a selfless person who the disease overcame. And although we mourn her passing, we celebrate her life. I'd like to ask Audrey Higginston Tom to come up. They were best buds in high school.
And did lots of sleepovers, and I know Audrey has a lot of great memories.